morning. Welcome to Evangeline Mornings. I'm Nancy Kay. We have a great show for you today. But first, we're going to talk to our guest, Lance Armentor, president of Savoy Medical Center. Thank you so much for being here, Lance.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, why don't you start with telling us a little bit about yourself? How did you come to be the president of Savoy Medical Center? That's such a distinguished title.
Well, I appreciate that. Definitely probably not the same journey most have taken in healthcare. Years ago, I was a vice president in the oil field. And of course, we all know we had the BP oil spill, and,
of course.
And the moratorium was issued, and really started thinking about what my future was going to be in the future of my family, and found a job in healthcare. Not something I ever thought I would do, but went to work at a small rural hospital in Jennings, Louisiana. Had some great times there. Learned a lot. It was really just like school for me. The administration there was wonderful. They gave me every opportunity to expand my knowledge, further my education, and do more. And that led me back to Lake Charles, where I live. And I ended up going to work for Oshner, which I'm sure everybody.
Right.
Great job there. I was the vice president of operations for all of South Louisiana. And who would have known? Not long after I went to work there, we had 4 natural disasters in less than a year. So it was a fun year on top of a pandemic, but it was a fun year. It was another great opportunity to really learn a bunch. And really expand my knowledge and be able to get a better understanding of not only how to engage employees, but how to really give access to patients. And that became something that I was very passionate about. Savoy and Mamu was very interesting. We received a phone call from one of my wife's family members. My wife's family is from the Mamu and Ville Platte area.
Okay.
So her father's from Mamu, her mother is from Ville Platte, born and raised, and then my wife, of course, was raised in Lake Charles. But received a phone call from one of the family members that said, hey, there's an opening here, and if y'all want to come and move to God's country, is the way they referred to
right.
it, then feel free to apply. I actually did, and started kind of meeting with some people from the area and meeting with the current administrator at the facility, and got to say, just fell in love with it from the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great place, just a great group of people, highly engaged staff. Really what they're doing there is special, and they're really doing everything they can to take care of patients. I thought it would be a phenomenal opportunity not only to move my wife and my kids to a great rural community to raise them, but a great opportunity to use some of the things that I've learned working in larger organizations and apply that here to grant access to patients. And that's what I think is probably the most important thing to the people of Evangeline Parish is how can we have access to specialists, to urologists, to rheumatologists, to endocrinologists, dermatologists. How can we bring that access here where the people of the community don't have to drive and go to Lafayette or Alexandria or wherever?
Right.
We have definitely a community what I like with access. So one of the things we're going to be doing at Savoy is bringing that access here.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
But a little more about me. I've been married right at 17 years. I have 5 young kids.
My goodness.
10 and under, yes.
All under 10?
All under 10. I have a 5-month-old all the way up to a 10-year-old. 4 girls. So to the people of the Evangeline Parish, good news for them, because I plan on retiring from Savoy. Therefore, everybody gets to retire because I have to work into my mid-70s. So.
Sure.
But one of the things that we're really focused on at Savoy and have been is access for the patients. So we have the 5 rural health communities in Basile, Eunice, something very important to us.
I agree. And what was the transition like going to a rural parish from where you were?
It was definitely different. I will say, when you're going from having 70, 80 employed physicians and multiple clinics spread out amongst 5 parishes, coming into a rural community can be a little bit of a culture shock. The great thing is you really start to see the change in bringing things back down simpler. Really having that relationship with the patients, and
Right.
everybody knows everybody's backstory and their family members, and half the people are cousins and kin, and so it's been really wonderful.
It's a little more personal.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot more personal.
That's great. That's great. And so you kind of touched on that a little. I know, like you said, access is very key to that.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
very important to the community. Savoy Medical Center is the last community-owned hospital in Evangeline Parish. It's a non-for-profit, and it is owned and managed by the city of Mamou. Therefore, we can be a little creative in what we do. So I like to think of what we do as not opportunistic healthcare. We're not looking for the easiest way or the quickest way to increase our revenue. What we're looking for, and we're always looking for, is what's in the best interest of the patient.
That's great. I think maybe sometimes privatized healthcare, they kind of lose track of that.
They could.
They
you know.
could. Not to say they're not trying to do everything for the patient, but sometimes, things get in the way, and,
Yep.
they're kind of, but I love the fact that it is community run. Now about the employees, you kind of touched on that a little bit. So you have fewer employees than you would, in larger operations. So how many employees do you guys have? Or
Currently, we have about 400.
Okay.
But yeah, you're not gonna have the robust bench strength that you see like when I was with Oshner. So what you have is the Lori Manuels and the Danny Lahays of the world, and they wear about 7 different hats, and they have to do about 4 or 5 different
Yes.
jobs. And it's really neat to sit back and watch the wide variety of skill sets that the administrative team that I have with me can do. It makes my job a lot easier. You don't have so many people to manage.
Right.
But at the end of the day, my focus becomes more on getting them the tools and so they can achieve their job and be successful.
Of course, of course. And so what about the New Horizons facility and program? So I know that's something that's building up a little bit steam right now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you wish you didn't have to have, but it's definitely a necessity. But our mental health is something that we see growing in the future. In New Horizons, we have an acute and a psych side. Plus, we also do IOPs. So we have like a 5-day detox treatment program where people can come. Then we have some out beyond the horizon, and that's a 28-day inpatient treatment center. So now the patients kind of have a full circle whenever they come to our facility.
That's wonderful, because for so long, I mean, people had to go outside the parish, and a lot of people struggling with mental illness maybe don't have access to a vehicle or any mode of transportation to get there,
Right.
relying on family members, especially for the more extreme cases where they have to rely on family to take them to appointments and whatnot. So I think that's a wonderful program that you guys have. And so you said you see mental health issues growing or becoming more of a problem as we continue on into the future. Is that maybe the world we live in today, you think, or just it's kind of always been there and now we're just recognizing it a little bit more?
Yeah, and look, I am definitely not a psychologist by any means.
I know.
I think it probably could be a lot of mixture of things. My wife is a social worker, and her and I speak about this quite often, and I think some of it is what you're saying. It's just we recognize it, we're able to identify it, and maybe do some things to help people, be more of who they should be, but I also think that it's the world we live in. Just from a personal opinion, I think we live in a world that is instant information, instant gratification, and instant communication. And I think some of these things can, especially in the young adults, can provide information and things to them that maybe they're not ready for or ready to comprehend.
Not only that, but we're addicted to social media
There you
now,
go.
and we see everybody's highlight reel, and we think mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television.
Hey, you can check out Louisiana Television on UGN Broadcasting by downloading the app on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and all mobile devices. From Mardi Gras to Gumbo, Zydeco, and our 400 festivals, what other state can you go in and see a world of yesterday and today in the same blink of an eye? From LSU sports to Bayou Classic, Creole Cajun cuisine, Louisiana Television has it all. Television and Louisiana Now.
Hi, I'm Stephen Crater. I work for Cajun Broadband because I choked on a hot dog. I was heading out of the job in the morning, stopped at the Sunset Liquor Store, grabbed me 2 hot dogs, started driving. A piece of the hot dog got stuck in my throat right here. I actually had to go to the hospital and they had to stretch my esophagus. With my previous employer I was working with at the time, I called them and told them I was going to go to the doctor. The guy asked me to bring a doctor's excuse. It was a big kick to the stomach for me, so I just said, okay, I'll bring you a doctor's excuse, and I quit. And that's whenever I called up Cajun Broadband, told them my situation, and they said, come on down. And we've been hammering out ever since. Each one of my technicians takes pride in their work. It's more of a personal connection between the technician and the customer. So one of my customers called me up. His father was getting into hospice. He had his own house. He had some family members coming down. At his father's house, he had no internet service. So we went ahead, I did a partial install, just put a pipe in the yard, put a dish up, ran internet service to his dad's house for the family members that came down to spend the final days with him. At no charge to the customer, we're actually able to help out people when we can. With the big dispatcher, line up a technician, do the full install, and get charged an arm and a leg just for 2 weeks of service. That just made our day just to help out.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings, and by Lance Armentor, who is our president of Savoy Medical Center and doing a great job from what I hear. And can you update us on what is happening that's going to be new with the facility?
Yeah, look, we've had a lot of excitement in the last quarter of 2021 and have a lot of big plans going into 22. But some of the highlights from just since I went there, and remember, a lot of these things were set into motion by Gene Burge, the previous CEO, and the administrative team. I just kind of walked in and get to kind of bask in the glory of what they set up. But some great things in the recent past. One of the things is really upgrading the facility. One of the things that the board and the administrative council decided is we're really going to reinvest back in the city and back into the hospital. So when I started in my first week, I think we all new LED lighting around the facility. We hired a local company that came in and cleaned the entire building outside, all the sidewalks, just really freshened up the place. Had another company come in and just really go through all the landscaping and things like that. We had some electrical issues that had been plaguing the place for years, so we had a company come in and re-pull underground cabling and wiring to the facility. And start evaluating all of our generators and the plant that actually, what I like to call them, and start looking at what upgrades are needed there. So a lot of rebuilding of the infrastructure. We're putting a new IT network in as we speak right now.
So it's like a total overhaul.
Yeah, I mean
it's a total upgrade.
It's a lot of money, I can tell you.
I know.
I would say in the last quarter we've spent in the millions. So
it.
really reinvesting in the longevity of the system. Going forward, though, some great things. We recently just signed our full-time oncologist, so that's a great thing. We have the cancer center, so really happy that Dr. Zhang has come over full-time with us. He's in clinic over at the cancer center 3 days a week, I believe, and then he's 1 day a week in Ville Platte right now at Dr. Cantu's office. Is where he's seeing patients on Wednesdays.
I've heard nothing but good things about the Cancer Center.
Yeah, no,
from former patients and family members who.
It's a great thing to have in this community. Otherwise, you would be going to Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, or Baton Rouge. That would be
illness that really it takes its toll on you.
Reinvesting in the Cancer Center. We recently just purchased a new LINAC, or linear accelerator, which is part of our radiation treatment program. So they ought to be, I would say, Q2 of this year installing that. So we'll have a brand, a new one to us there. just really some good things in the cancer center. We're going to expand our cancer center. We're going to keep growing, doing chemo infusions, things like that. On the other note, we have every intention of growing our rural health clinics, providing what we talked about earlier, more access to the patients, getting out in the rural communities, and we're working right now to identify some great places in Evangeline Parish and even moving outside of Evangeline Parish to do that.
That's great, because we have all these little pocket communities, you know, throughout the place, and a lot of people forget about that. I've lived here most of my life, and some of them I'm just hearing about that I've never, these little tiny dots on the map that, you know, people tend to forget, but the pocket communities definitely need those little rural health clinics.
And lastly, something in the very near future that we've decided to move forward with is a company called Hologics. And bringing in a world-class wound care center of excellence with 2 hyperbaric chambers, and we actually are about to start the renovation process for that, and that'll be open later this year. So another service line that we're adding to provide to the community. So one of the big things is, you know, Savoy Medical Center is adding service lines. We're constantly looking for growth, and we think we'll be able to achieve that in this market.
I think that's fantastic, all the great changes that are coming through. Now, what do you like best about your job? If I can get a little personal, see what you like best about it.
You know, my favorite part of my job is supporting and engaging staff. I often tell people that, you know, as the CEO, you would think that I would be making the tough decisions every day, but very good administrative team that really is great at making decisions. I think my job is to really walk around, engage the staff, make sure they enjoy their work environment, and make sure that they have all the tools and everything they need to be successful and take care of patients. And if I can do that, then the patient satisfaction is going to be high, and we're going to continue to grow. We're going to see more patients, and we're going to be able to expand. Challenging ourselves is another thing every day that I like to do. It's challenging the team, challenging myself to do more and bring better healthcare options to the patients.
Amazing. Now, what are some of the challenges that you face as president?
Well, you know, in a rural community, there's always some stigmas with that. So I can tell you, like, one of the big ones, and I don't think any rural hospital can get around this, is people in my position usually aren't there very long. And it's the stigma of a rural community. You hire an administrator, they come in, they get a couple of years experience, and then they move on to a larger facility somewhere else. One of the big challenges is finding somebody like me to stay. The great news is coming to Savoy wasn't a check on a box for me. I had a good position before. I was happy where I was. But I wanted more for my family. I wanted to come to a community that I wanted to raise my kids in. And Savoy was perfect for me. It was the perfect fit for my wife and I. And so, you know, what they got is they got me for a long time. And so I think we'll be able to do some good things. But no, that's definitely one of the biggest challenges for a rural hospital. The other is always going to be the bottom line. We don't have the luxury of making mistakes. Whereas in a larger organization, you can make a mistake and it could cost the company $500,000. And it's, while you don't want to do that, it's not as big a deal as if you cost Savoy $500,000.
Right.
You just don't have the budget that you're working with elsewhere. So that's always a big challenge for people. And last, probably the largest challenge is recruiting physicians. Getting physicians to see the potential and the lifestyle that they can have coming here compared to living in a larger city.
What are some of your selling points to attract them over here?
Well, you have to find the right one first. The greatest thing that you can do is homegrown physicians, like Dr. Noah Miller. Great young guy from right here in Evangeline. You know, he's with the Evangeline Clinic is where he's working at. But one of the biggest things that we did at the medical center was guarantee a salary. Want to make sure that he is comfortable and that he knows as he ramps up and grows his practice that the financial aspect of it he doesn't worry about. So, you know, worked really close with the people of the Evangeline Clinic and made sure that that's one headache off of his plate.
Yes.
But he's homegrown, born here, and that is the greatest physicians because he's never going to, you know, I would say he's never going to leave the parish. I guess that could always happen, but hopefully he stays here for a long time and provides that service.
I absolutely agree. And actually, my niece is in her first semester at, well, now her second semester at LSU. She wants to be a cardiologist. She's from Bunkie and grew up in Bunkie. And I told her, you might want to think, I know you want to, you know, move away, but think about eventually going back to your hometown or home community because they always need, you know,
We always
good
need
physicians and specialists. Yeah, so it's very important. And I know a lot of them who grew up here who are still in Evangeline Parish. So I think they really stick to their roots and understand the community needs them. So now, what kind of opportunities does Savoy Medical Center provide as far as people who want to jobs? What kind of jobs can they find? Anything open right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we've done lately is start to realign our organizational structure and see where we have our needs at. But no, if you go to the Savoy Medical Center website, you'll see everything from LPNs to business office collectors and billing and maintenance workers. But we have a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity for growth, and that's going back to when you talk about what's the most important thing to me when you engage that staff is making sure they have not only the tools but the opportunity for growth within the organization.
Right. And
so
you are the largest employer for MAMU.
That is correct.
Yeah. And I'm sure kind of the surrounding communities around MAMU. Healthcare in general is the largest employer for, I think maybe second to school board. Yeah, but for the parish.
Well, and another big thing that we, SAI, we are trying to do is we're really focused on bringing a lot of jobs back to the hospital. So over the years, you know, prior when it was owned by a for-profit agency, I think HCA or Columbia or somebody owned it, they end up third-partying out a lot of the areas.
Right.
One of the things we've been focused on, and we're going to continue to be focused on in 22, is bringing those jobs back into the hospital, which is creating jobs for people in the community and getting them to work right here locally. So
Great. That's great, keeping it locally and helping the community at the same time. Love it. Anything else you'd like to mention, Lance?
No.
Okay, well, how about the website so people can go find any kind of specialist they need or look for a job? Or
Yeah, we of course you can go follow us on Facebook. We have a LinkedIn profile. You just have to search Savoy Medical. But Facebook, we post every day, and then we have our website at savoymedicalcenter.com.
Very good.
So.
Thank you so much, Lance, for joining us. Please come back again whenever you're ready to give some more updates. We're very happy about all the expansions happening with Savoy Medical Center.
All right, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. All right, and we'll be back after this on Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television.
Television on UGN Broadcasting by downloading the app on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and all mobile devices. From Mardi Gras to Gumbo, Zydeco, and our 400 festivals, what other state can you go in and see a world of yesterday and today in the same blink of an eye? From LSU sports to Bayou Classic, Creole Cajun cuisine, Louisiana Television has it all. And we're proud of Louisiana and Louisiana Now.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy Kay, happy to be joined by Jen Shaw of EPAR, which is Every Paw Animal Rescue. Thank you for being on the show, Jen.
Good morning.
And what is your role in EPAR?
I am the director.
And how long have you been director? a while.
Yeah. I started out as a volunteer, I think 9 years ago.
Okay.
And it kind of just evolved in me becoming more and more involved in it, and ended up being a director.
That's amazing. And how did the organization get
There was a group of 3 ladies that realized that Evangeline Parish did not have a parish rescue. They had the city rescue, the dog pounds, ACOs, and all that, but there was nowhere for the parish dogs to go. So they started EPAR, and it kind of has grown leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it used to be Evangeline Parish Animal Rescue, but now it's every paw Animal Rescue.
Because, I mean, we take in anything and everything.
Yeah.
Anywhere from dogs, cats, ferrets, horses, goats, chickens, everything.
I know. I remember for the big flood of 2016, you guys were so busy rescuing animals.
Oh, it was
all
insane.
over. I mean, people had just, floodwaters rising everywhere. You're rescuing chickens and rabbits, and
we were out in up to our hips in water, taking dogs that had been chained up, which is just absolutely devastating for us to see. And it was just crazy chaos.
Yeah, I know you guys work really, really hard, and I know you guys don't get a lot of the recognition that you deserve. And a lot of times you work with the local shelters, I should say, but there's the city pounds.
Correct.
So like Mamu and Ville Platte are I think the only 2 in the parish. There used to be one in Pine.
No, there's Pine Prairie, Turkey Creek, Ville Platte, Mamu, and I know I'm forgetting one. Pine Prairie.
Okay, now I thought they had one a long time ago, but it closed. So they still have one?
No, it still has.
Okay, so how do you guys work with them? Like, do you get the dogs to, because I know they only take in dogs. They don't really take in cats or anything. So you just work with them to get them adopted elsewhere?
Yes. The town holds their dogs for their whole time to try to allow the owners to find them. After the whole time is up, we start taking pictures and submitting them to our rescues that we work with up north to try to find them good homes.
Now, why do the northern shelters take in our dogs for the rural parishes?
Up north, they do not have loose animals like we do down here. There is strict laws. You have to have permits to have and only have so many per home. They have a strict spade and neuter laws up there. They have a leash law that they abide by. The animals are inside. They're not outside like around here. So, I mean, we work up there with our northern rescues to find loving, caring homes for our strays.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that they take them in. But here it's very frustrating because so many people just let their animals roam and they don't get them spayed or neutered. So they're just reproducing. So it's not only a danger to the animals, it's costly for the cities, and it's also a danger to humans as well. And so what kind of laws is Louisiana, or at least Evangeline Parish, doing about that?
Well, there is laws here. There is leash laws, there is spade and neuter, rabies, all that. But it's to enforce them. That is where our problem lies.
So is the problem with maybe the local law enforcement that they're just not taking it seriously, or they can't catch the people doing it?
It's just so abundant until, you know, and then if you do find a dog running, and whose is it?
Yeah. Nobody has ID on them.
No.
Yeah. I found one recently, and she had a collar but no ID, and I got her scanned and everything, but no microchip.
Exactly.
So it's, people need to tag their animals for sure, and also get them spayed and neutered. Now, sometimes you guys provide a spay-neuter clinic where it's discounted, and I think that's with Spay Nation out of Lafayette. Yeah. Do you guys have another one of those coming up soon?
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to get one. Right now, the COVID has messed up everything.
I know.
And with this new strain coming back around, it's like we're still having problems.
I know.
Finding funding, finding anything.
Right. Now, what's kind of the condition of the local pounds for Mamu, Ville Platte? Because I know Mamu has talked about renovating theirs and bringing it up to code. Ville Platte is supposedly making changes and upgrading theirs. So how about the others, or even with these? Do you find that they're making changes?
They're trying, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do as EPAR is build a facility. Since we are a home-based foster rescue, we do this and it has grown so big until we can't anymore.
You just don't have enough fosters.
Don't have enough fosters, don't have enough room, don't have enough volunteers, don't have, period. And it used to be maybe 100 dogs a year. Now, out of our homes, we're doing anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 dogs a year.
Oh my goodness.
And
That is a huge number.
it is insane.
And that's mostly Evangeline Parish, right?
That is Evangeline
That's
Parish.
all Evangeline Parish.
We might take in 15 dogs out of parish a year, and that is because it is local, like the next parish over, something that is about to be euthanized,
Yeah.
and we are able to help and get into a home up north, but it's for a brief layover time.
Right. Now, what happens? How do you guys decide which dogs to rescue and which ones get left behind, and what happens to the ones that get left behind?
I really don't know that word.
Oh, left behind.
Left behind is not in my vocabulary.
Yeah.
There are a few, but very few.
Okay.
It's like how. Now I'm gonna get emotional.
No, that's okay. Look, I feel the same way. I grew up, rescuing pets since I was a little kid. My parents would fuss because I'd bring home every stray in the neighborhood. So I was like the same way.
Everybody
But-
tells me you can't save them all, which I understand. But you tell me which one to sit there
Exactly.
and look at and say, okay, you're gonna die because I can't.
Right. Yeah. And really the only thing that would make it better is people, if they, heeded the leash laws and got their pets altered
Correct.
to ensure that they won't reproduce. Then you won't have this 1,200 dogs a year
I mean-
that you need to rescue.
Yeah, exactly. Microchip them, put a tag. That's a big plus.
And a lot of organizations offer discounted microchipping, like
Correct.
Spay Nation, for instance. Sometimes once or twice a year they'll have, and Spay Nation is a great organization too, and that is funded. And I've taken pets there to get spayed and
Yeah,
neutered.
they've had
and it's-
a vaccine clinic and wellness clinic that we've had in Ville Platte before that they came out and did.
right.
But I mean, you as a pet owner has to help. I mean, they're not a toy.
No.
They're a living creature that needs you.
I'm glad you said that because Christmas just passed, and I know it's very popular to give a pet for a Christmas gift, like a kitten or a puppy. And
Correct.
so, what are the dangers of that?
People think so cute, fluffy. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. Remember, this is an infant just like yours.
Right.
It's going to poop. It's going to pee.
They're going to
It's gonna
bite things,
chew stuff up. It's going to cry. It's going to bark. You have to dedicate yourself to this animal that you've decided to take in.
Right.
It takes months for it to start fitting in, to understand what you want of it.
Right.
This is a 12, 15 years. 2 months later or 2 days later, oh, it pooped on the floor. It's got to go.
Some people just want them, I guess, as cute little pictures, like for Easter when they have the little ducks and the chicks, and then after that they just, and the bunnies. So just get a senior dog or something.
Get
because
a goldfish.
Get a goldfish. Start with a plant, and work your way up. But I've told people before, like, don't start with a puppy, especially because
No.
it's just too difficult. And I love my senior dogs because when I'm gone, they take a nap.
Yeah.
They're just,
And you
and they
have
know
to
their routine.
realize these puppies have come from a litter. They're not used to being alone. They're going to cry. They're going to cry all night for the first couple of nights.
Right. We're going to be right back after this break because I want to hear a little bit more about EPAR and plans coming up for the future, okay? So we'll be right back with Jen Shaw. You're watching Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television.
Hello everybody, this is Gino Delaforce, and you're watching the Louisiana Television Channel. Thank you for watching.
Hey, you can check out Louisiana television on UGN Broadcasting by downloading the app on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, and all mobile devices. From Mardi Gras to Gumbo, Zydeco, and our 400 festivals, what other state can you go in and see a world of yesterday and today in the blink of an eye? From LSU sports to Bayou Classic, Creole Cajun cuisine, Louisiana television has it all. And we're proud of Louisiana television and Louisiana Now. Before John DeVille and his staff can unlock the doors, there's a gathering outside of the Cajun Catfish Steakhouse and Buffet, 1452 Highway 167 North, Ville Platte, Louisiana. His staff would like to invite you in for a dining experience you won't forget. From fruits and salads made fresh every day to a spacious environment to stretch your legs out and loosen your belt loop. Enjoy Central Louisiana's best in seafood and steak. The Fish Steakhouse and Buffet, 1452 Highway 167 North, Ville Platte, Louisiana.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy Kay, and we've been talking with Jen Shaw of EPAR, Every Paw Animal Rescue, which is our parish animal rescue group.
Correct.
Yeah, and let's just talk about how you guys get funded.
It is a misconception that we are a government funded. We are not. We are a private donation fundraiser only funded. So unless we have donations come in or are able to do fundraisers, we can't do what we do.
Right. Now, was the police jury helping you out with as far as like a stipend for animal health care or something for a little while?
Yes, they do help us with our vet bill.
Okay.
They give us a flat, not even give us, it goes straight to the vet.
Yeah.
Correct. We never see, never touch, never anything, the money.
Yeah.
And it is a portion of the vet bill. We still have to do fundraisers. We still
Right.
have to raise money. We still have to attempt to apply for grants, all of that. We are not a government at all.
And what kind of fundraisers do you guys have?
We have bake sales.
Okay.
We have raffles, stuff like that.
Very good. And what is it that EPAR needs the most of right now?
Oh,
A lot?
everything.
From money to volunteers to supplies, I imagine.
Correct.
Yeah.
We are in the process right now, since we are a home base foster rescue, we are in the process of trying to build a facility. Right now, we have the land, we have the dirt work. We are needing cement poured. We're needing funding for the building that we have the blueprints and everything for already. Just volunteers. The minute that we get that is what's holding us up. The minute that we get we can have volunteers come in. We can have trustees come in. Get different government grants for it. But right now it's like we at a standstill because all of these things are in our homes.
Right. And
So
so
you don't just want people in your homes
Right.
or trustees at your house, or
Right.
and it kind of has this whole.
Right, and so so mostly you rely on volunteers and fosters. And if somebody wants to foster, what kind of commitment are they looking at?
Usually it's anywhere from around 14 days.
Okay.
For the simple fact that we have a 14-day hold period. We do 2 sets of shots before we try to send them out on our northern rescue. And most of the time, if they're going to get sick, it's within the 14 days.
And I know the Northern Rescue Groups, they're very particular about heartworms with the dogs.
Correct.
Now, how important is it for people to be aware of vaccinating, of course, but also giving them heartworm prevention?
Down here in the South, it's horrible.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes, I don't know if everybody realizes it's the mosquitoes that give the dog the heartworms. And out of every 10 dogs that we take in off of the streets, probably 8 or 9 of them have heartworms. When we find one that's heartworm negative, it's like a party. we want to scream and shout, you know.
Yeah, because it's very costly, and it it can't kill the animal, but it's also very costly for the
Correct.
treatment to remove the heartworms, and not every dog can get the treatment because
Correct.
they're either too old or, you know, they're just not in the best condition. So yeah, and the northern shelters really don't want them if they're
We
going to be
have a
sick
few
like
that will take them,
Okay.
and it's actually more expensive up there than it is here. To treat a dog down here, it's about $800 for heartworm treatment. Up there, it's like $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
For us to take in a dog, it's usually about $18 per day per dog, roughly $18, $20.
Right.
This covers the food, the vaccine, the heartworm peel, flea peel. If they have heartworms, it's another $800 per dog.
And if somebody is fostering, do you guys cover the food?
Yes.
And yes. So
The only thing they have to do is give love.
see, that's great, because I think a lot of people don't want to foster because they think there's a cost involved,
No.
but no, all
We
they have to
all
do
the
is just
bedding, all the food, the crates, the playpens, the puppy pads, everything.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because I think especially during the pandemic last year, you would think more people would want to, you know, foster because they were stuck at home all
Yeah.
the time. And I know around the country some people were doing that. Did you guys find that?
Yeah, we
More
had
fosters?
more fosters then.
Good.
Okay. It was great. It was horrible, but it was great.
Now, do you guys? We had talked about the local pounds and everything, but are the local municipalities, the towns, doing anything to help you guys out?
They really can't
Yeah.
too much because,
Right.
again, we don't have a shelter.
Right.
If we had the shelter, you know, we could do a program with them. We're taking in your dogs. We're finding them homes after your whole period. We can take them to our facility then and take them off of your hands. But right now, again, that's holding us up.
Do you feel Louisiana does enough with its laws to regulate animal abuse and neglect? Now, I know you have to enforce them, but do you think need improvement? Because I know we don't require like a spay-neuter law, but what about abuse and neglect? Or is it enough?
The laws are out there. Some of them needs to be revised. Some of them, you know, it's just to get them enforced.
Right.
That's the hard part.
Right. And are they listening to you whenever you talk to the police chiefs and
Yeah.
sheriff? And they
I
are?
have
Yeah.
they help me a lot. The sheriff's department, the Ville Platte Police Department.
Good.
I mean,
But like you said earlier, it's to catch people. Yeah,
Exactly.
doing it. That's the hard part. Now, is there's something you would like the towns to do that they're not doing now?
I mean, it's really hard for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
It all comes down to funding. I know.
exactly. It
And
comes
they
down
have
to
so
funding
much
and space.
space. Absolutely.
There
Yeah.
is so many out there. On the way here, I saw one running down the road.
I see them
Pregnant.
every day.
Pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, really.
I know. Now, let me switch gears a little bit. So we talked about kind of all the heartbreaking stuff, really. But what do you love most about your job?
The happy endings.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a good feeling to see, because I had rescued one a year ago this month, and you guys helped me out, and one of our local friends, Melissa Gibson, had helped us out because she does a lot of volunteer work with the pound. And that dog found a home, and he's now in New Jersey. And I was at the picture a couple of months ago, and he looked so happy
Yep.
with his new little owner. So that indeed was a happy ending.
To take the dog that you found on the streets, that's nothing but bones with skin draped over it, bring it back to life, and then have it brought up there, and they send you pictures of it laying by the fireplace on a bed, or
Yeah.
it makes it worth it.
It does. The one I had found last year, he was pretty skinny, and he was limping. He was dirty and filthy, and just to see him so happy and
Yep.
and content. So that's what you love best about your job, is the happy endings.
Yep.
That makes it all worth it.
And not all are happy endings,
Right.
but when you get one, it's a blessing.
And what would you like the public to know the most about EPAR?
That we are looking for more fosters to help. That if you can't spay and neuter, but at least microchip, put a tag on your dog with your name on it
Right.
and a phone number.
Right.
We found one a couple of days ago, And the owner said, you know, we found the owner. She said, it's never done this before. I said, baby, please put your name on your baby.
I found one before years ago, and it was just a little Shih Tzu running in the middle of the road. Had a shock collar on, but I guess the battery wore out, you know. But there was no tag, no ID, nothing. And so my brother and his girlfriend at the time wanted her, so they took her and gave her a good life. But I know that dog belonged to somebody. But I looked for the owner, couldn't find it. So it's very important to tag your pets, and microchipping is very important too. Now, go ahead.
Not only microchip, when you microchip, it's not automatically registered.
You have to register
got
it.
to register it. We find a microchip with no registration.
Yeah, you have to do that. Now, before we close out real quick, how do people get in touch with you if they want to donate? Now, you guys have a Facebook page.
Correct.
And can a message on there?
Correct.
What's the Facebook page?
EPAR.
Okay, and you guys also have, Evangeline Parish Lost and Found Pets? Do you work with that one a little bit? Okay, so if people lose pets or they find some, they could post it there.
Correct.
It's just not everybody checks Facebook, you know.
Correct.
So that's great. So they could, best place is to message you on Facebook if they have a donation or they want to volunteer, or if they have an animal that needs help. And
correct.
So, okay, very good. Jen, anything else you want to mention before we go?
Just love you, babies.
Yeah. Thank you so much for you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jen Shaw with Every Paw Animal Rescue.
Hi, this is Trevor Cause, and you're watching Louisiana Television Channel.
Hello everybody, this is Gino Delafosse, and you're watching the Louisiana Television Channel. Thank you for watching.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings. Let's take a look at what's happening around the community. Ville Platte's Mercy Regional Medical Center's blood drive will be this Thursday from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. The community blood supply would not be possible. The 16th annual Gumbo Cook-Off will be held Saturday, January 29th from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. at 521 East Landry Street in Opelousas. And this year the benefit is for Zadie Thibodeau, who has a terminal illness called infantile neuroabstinal dystrophy. Tickets are available at eventbrite.com. From Sacred Heart Church, Father Colleen will be offering a study on Dr. Brent Pete's new book, Introduction to the Spiritual Life, Walking the Path of Prayer with Jesus. This several-week study will look at topics of prayer and spirituality through the lens of sacred scripture and the church's rich history. Classes will be on Mondays from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. in the church meeting room. The first class is today. Please contact the church office to sign up for the class, or for more information, call 337-363-2989. And that about wraps it up for our show today. I want to thank all of our guests. And also remember, if you want to be a guest on the show, just feel free to shoot me an email. It's ugn.prgm@gmail.com. And like I said, we're going to have a great season this coming few weeks or so that we're going to be filming the show. Lots of special guests coming on. And we also have a little partnership with United Way of St. Landry Evangeline. We'll tell you more about that later on. So thank you again to all of our wonderful guests today. And I hope 2022 is going to be a wonderful year for you and your loved ones. God bless everyone. This is Nancy Kay saying so long, bonjour, and bon temps, mes amis.